Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Tano Gamba. And for our top stories, Mongolia-Japan Business Forum-2022 was held. United Nations Youth Delegate Environmental Leadership Program launched in Mongolia. And 21 colleagues shut down for failure to meet standards. And for the news, stay tuned. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and Mongolia. As part of this anniversary, the Mongolia-Japan Business Forum-2022 was organized at the White Work Center on August 19th. This forum continued all day and representatives of business organizations from both countries participated.
This year, the forum is organized as part of the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the Mongolia-Japan Human Resource Development Center and the 25th anniversary of the establishment of JICA's representative office in Mongolia. At the forum, many important presentations were made and policies and possibilities of supporting foreign direct investment and protecting the interests of investors were discussed, as well as evaluating the status of Mongolia, its future prospects, and possibilities of cooperation in the fields of information and communication.
I think it's progressing in good way. Of course, maybe it's not as fast and aggressive as maybe some people are expecting, but for example, Mobicom is also one part of the collaboration between Mongolia and Japan. Yes, it started 26 years ago with the investment of the Japanese to the Mongolian. But since then, maybe Mongolia was facing some difficulties on the overall country economy. So that's why maybe many overseas entities, even Japanese companies, was somehow a little bit hesitating to invest and enter into Mongolia. But during the COVID, I think they saw strong leadership of the Mongolian government. Also, I think the latest Mongolian government is very much focusing on improving their industry, not just mining, not just bank, not just IT, which means that there's more opportunity for the Japanese company to consider investing and entering into Mongolia to do business. From my personal view, I think the purpose of this event is to, of course, maybe there are lots of Mongolian people who doesn't know what kind of a Japanese invested companies are doing in Mongolia. But on the other hand, it's, I think, more targeting to the online participants who has some interest in Mongolia but really doesn't know what it's like to have business in Mongolia. So as one of the companies who is doing business in Mongolia, if we can share how we are doing, also as an IT company that there are already pretty good IT infrastructure to start business in Mongolia, it may give some kind of a hint to start new business for those companies too doing Mongolia, not just in Japan.
Japan is Mongolia's third strategic partner and the first country to sign an economic partnership agreement. According to economic partnership, there is an opportunity to intensify the economic cooperation between the two countries up to a new level, to implement new solutions, and to start investments and businesses that will be beneficial to both sides. More than 670 companies with investment from Japan are operating in Mongolia. As part of the cooperation between Mongolia and Japan, the new airport in Hushuktvoliya has been put into operation this year, and the development of this industry is going forward step by step. Also, since the opening of Mongolian-Japanese Joint Hospital in 2018, all human resources, including doctors, nurses, and interns, have been trained at the hospital through practical training sessions. The participants of the forum say that as a result of forum, the business environment between the two countries will become more favorable and cooperation will be strengthened further.
The United Nations Youth Delegate Environmental Leadership Program was launched in Mongolia for the first time. 2 of the program's participants will be invited to the United Nations 2022 International Conferences on Climate Change and Biodiversity.
30 young people between 18 and 30 were selected for the program. 5 participants from the provinces were chosen to participate online. For 2 months, they will take environmental courses and carry out projects. At the end of the projects, the 2 top participants will be selected to attend UN international conferences in Egypt and Canada. After returning to Mongolia, the two representatives will hold a high-level meeting to share their experiences and identify further actions and opportunities for youth participation in environmental issues. The UN Youth Delegate Program doesn't only focus on environmental issues. It sheds light on other issues in society and allows youth to make their voices heard at the UN's international conferences. The UN Youth Delegate Environmental Leadership Program is being carried out in Mongolia from August 20 through October 15th.
On Friday, the Ministry of Education and Science decided to shut down 21 colleges for their failure to meet curriculum and facility standards.
One of the colleges shut down had less than 40 students, only 2 professors, and classrooms in the basement. The college's license was revoked, along with 12 other colleges, and 8 colleges were merged with other universities. The ministry also approved the transfer requests of 1,567 students to other post-secondary schools. If qualified, 163 professors will be provided with the opportunity to work at other schools.
Graduates of unqualified colleges face a high risk of being unemployed. There is a flaw in our education system. They don't prepare students for high-demand jobs.
Around 150,000 students study at over 80 universities and colleges in Mongolia. Annually, 40,000 students graduate from these institutions. However, 1 in every 3 graduates is unable to find a job related to their major. This year, the Ministry of Education conducted a survey of 2,564 curricula and cancelled 908.
Students spend 4 years at post-secondary schools, but some graduates are incompetent in the job market. Major reforms and bold actions are needed in this sector, and that's what we are aiming for.
Some major violations were discovered during the survey. They were colleges that had hired secondary school teachers, and some had disqualified learning facilities with low admissions. According to officials, substandard education is a cause of future unemployment. They have started taking major steps to bring reforms to the education sector. 24 colleges have received notices to address their violations.
Here's the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The Together for Development Forum was held in Darkhol province. The forum focused on implementing the new revival policy in provincial areas in line with the Sustainable Development Goals.
The main discussion areas of the forum were the new revival policy and sustainable development in the countryside. It's the 4th forum organized by the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Economic Development. The forum is planned to take place in other provinces as well.
The forum has gathered representatives from private and government organizations. We are sharing ideas on how to implement the new revival policy in the provinces. The provinces are keenly interested in this forum. We approved our policy, which defines our participation and contribution towards the government's goal. Through this forum, we are introducing the policy to the citizens and the private sector.
Another focus of the forum was a discussion for introducing the latest scientific innovation in the provinces so that the capital city and provinces will develop together in a similar fashion. To support startups through a mentorship program was also part of the main topic. The forum was held for 2 days from August 18 to 19th. Its main goal was to become a link between the government, private organizations, and citizens in order to unite in achieving the sustainable development goals in Mongolia based on scientific innovations.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at our international news from our partner agencies. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has been diagnosed with the coronavirus on Sunday and cancelled his planned travels while he occupied. Kishida developed a fever and cough late Saturday and tested positive for COVID-19 on Sunday, Japanese media reports said.
The Prime Minister's office was not immediately available for comment. The 65-year-old Prime Minister was on summer vacation last week and scheduled to return to work Monday. It's not clear where or how he was infected. Kishida won't go in person to a conference on African development later this month in Tunisia, but will take part in it online, and he postponed his trip to the Middle East, according to the public broadcaster NHK. Cases of coronavirus infections have been surging recently in Japan, although most people, including Kishida, have been vaccinated. Other world leaders, including US President Joe Biden, have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and recovered.
At least 40 people died and others were missing in flash floods triggered by intense monsoon rains in northern India over the past 3 days, officials said Sunday.
The rains inundated hundreds of villages, swept away mud houses, flooded roads, and destroyed bridges in some parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand states. The India Meteorological Department predicted that heavy to very heavy rain would continue to fall in the region for the next 2 days. An official government release Sunday said landslides and flooding in the Himalayan state of Himachal Pradesh over the last 3 days killed at least 36 people. Hundreds were taking shelter in relief camps after being displaced from their flooded homes. In the neighboring state of Uttarakhand, a series of cloudbursts Saturday left 4 dead and 13 went missing as rivers breached banks and washed away some houses. Rescue teams were moving the stranded to safety in both states. Disasters caused by landslides and floods are common in India's Himalayan north during the June-September monsoon season. Scientists say they are becoming more frequent as global warming contributes to the melting of glaciers there. Last year, flash floods killed nearly 200 people and washed away houses in Uttarakhand.
2 major traffic accidents in southern Turkey left at least 35 people dead, officials said late Saturday. Officials said 15 people were killed when a passenger bus collided with emergency teams handling an earlier road accident some 250 kilometers to the west of Derek.
3 firefighters, 2 paramedics, and 2 journalists were among those killed on the highway between Gaziantep and Nizip, Interior Minister Suleiman Soylu said. The other 8 fatalities were on the bus, he added. Gaziantep Governor Davut Gal said 22 other people were injured in the incident. The Ilhas news agency said 2 of its journalists were killed after pulling over to help the victims of the initial accident, in which a car came off the highway and slid down an embankment. Television footage showed an ambulance with severe damage to its rear while the bus lay on its side alongside the highway. A separate incident in Derek, Mardin province, occurred when the brakes of an articulated truck failed, causing it to crash into 2 other vehicles near a gas station. A short while later, as emergency teams tended to the casualties of the first incidents and crowds gathered to watch, a second truck lost control and plowed into the scene. Speaking from the accident site, Soylu said 20 people were killed and 26 injured. A police officer was among the dead and 2 drivers were detained as an investigation into the incident was launched, he added. Turkey has a poor record of road safety. Some 5,362 people were killed in traffic accidents last year, according to the government.
Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. Former Yokozuna Hakuho had swapped held the stocks with his ex-stable master, in the process becoming Miyagi no Oyakata and taking control of the stable associated with that name. Since 2007, Hakuho Dawa won 45 times in the highest level of professional sumo for 14 years and won 1,187 matches. Most recently, he broke his own record in professional sumo wrestling by winning the 45 title at the Nagoya Basho in 2021 with 15 rounds without a loss. In September 2019, he received Japanese citizenship and the opportunity to teach in his own arena, and the chance to become a stable master was opened. However, according to the sumo wrestling tradition, from the first day of the Kyushu Basho in November 2021, during the sumo wrestling tournament, he stood at the entrance to get tickets, watched the wrestlers enter, and helped them the audience. 45 Emperors Cup triumphs later, the decision remains one of the greatest ever made, and it's fitting that the legendary Yokozuna now starts his career as a stable master in charge of the very same Heya that changed the course of his life. Of course, until last year, it was widely expected that Hakuho would be offered a special one-generation name stock, which would have allowed him to continue on as an elder and eventually open a stable under his ring name. However, the findings of a controversial 2021 report that called for the banning of that practice were accepted by the Japanese Sumo Association, and Hakuho became the first yokozuna with 20 or more championships not to be given the prestigious honor. Under its new leadership, Miyagi-no stable will also change location for the second time in the past 7 years, moving from northeast of Skytree to further south in Sumida Ward into the former premises of the now defunct Azumeki stable. France's Caroline Garcia and Croatia's Borna Koric both created history as they claimed victories in the finals at the Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati. Caroline Garcia became the first qualifier to win a WTA 1000 title with her 6-2 and 6-4 win against Petra Kvitova. In the men's final, Koric, the world number 152, became the lowest-ranked player to claim a Masters trophy. He beat Greek fourth seed Stefanos Tsitsipas. The previous holder of the record was then world number 143 Roberto Carretero of Spain, who won in Hamburg in 1996. Koric has been as high as 12 in the ATP rankings but was absent for a year with a shoulder injury and only returned into the circuit in March. He beat British number 1 Cameron Norrie in Saturday's semi-final after early dispatching Rafael Nadal and Felix Auger-Aliassime. Garcia's win saw her claim the third Masters trophy of her career after back-to-back successes in Wuhan and Beijing almost 5 years ago.
Pure joy, I think it's just happiness, every single win is very important, every title is very special, 250, 1000, it's always very hard to describe it, and it's not happening so often, and you have to really enjoy it, and I'm really grateful for this great week of tennis, and to win another title, it's very special.
The world number 35 is now set to return to the top 20 rankings for the first time since 2017. After getting through qualifying, Garcia beat 3 top 10 ranked opponents in Maria Sakkari, Aryna Sabalenka and Jessica Pegula, before another support performance against Czech two-time Wimbledon champion Kvitova. No qualifier had won a WTA 1000 title since tier was created in 2009. Garcia, who leads the WTA tour in aces and is second in breakpoints saved, played to her strength to triumph in 1 hour and 42 minutes. She served 11 aces and saved all 8 breakpoints she faced for her third title of the year after earlier successes in clay in Warsaw and on grass in Bad Hamburg. Garcia's record of 33 victories in total this year is better only by Iga Świątek, Simona Halep and Ons Jabeur. Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.